Hi, Karol.
Hi, Natalie.
And the first thing I want to ask you, what are your first impressions of your first meeting with the Tchaikovsky Hall organ?
You know, first of all, it was, of course, excitement because you play in such a legendary concert hall. So, of course, you are excited, you are honored, and you are naturally happy to play. And maybe a little bit stressed to see how the audience will accept you, if they will enjoy or if they will be enthusiastic. Yeah, so a lot of emotion. Especially, it was a difficult time during this COVID restrictions, but yeah, I remember strong emotions.
And what could you say about the instrument itself?
I think that this is a very good instrument with a lot of good sounds, nice sounds. What I am looking for when I play the organ, especially in the concert hall, is to have this sonority which can be convinced for the audience, no organistic audience, I mean, that the people who listen to the orchestras, piano, that they can say, yes, organ is nice, it can be a good sound, it can be interesting, yeah. So I feel very comfortable with this organ, and I enjoyed it very much to play.
And now you know the instrument. So is your new Moscow program determined somehow with this organ in this particular concert hall?
Yeah, of course. I remember the sonorities which I enjoyed particularity, and of course I took this good sounds and this characteristic of this organ for a program which we prepare for September. It's helpful to know the organ, of course.
And in Tchaikovsky Concert Hall, audience used to hear all organ recitals or organ with orchestra, but separately. And you will present both solo and symphonic repertoire for the organ. Is it your idea?
No, it's not my idea, because it's true that normally we play all of solo recital or one concerto with orchestra during the orchestra's concert, and this is actually something really original and fantastic, I think, because we will hear like two different orchestra. I mean, one orchestra which is organ and one real orchestra, and I think that for the audience it's a great experience to hear so different possibilities of the organ.
And in your program, the Baroque era and Romantic era are both presented with two composed couples. Can you say a few words about these couples?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I thought that it will be good to have two different parts of the program, but finally I was looking for some connection between them, and we have this connection with Brahms and Reinberger because they both were absolutely in love with Bach music, with Bach talent. With they played the organ, both of them, even if it's not so well known about Brahms, but he wrote when he was young. He wrote preludes and fugues and some different pieces to really improve his composer skills. And after he was coming back to the organ, the very last time on his life. Yeah, and this connection with Bach, I think that this is a really a key to understand our program. And yeah, I mean, the spirit of the Bach music will be during all the concert.
And of course, we all know that Bach was a church organist and Handel was concert organist. How could you describe the difference between their styles?
I can describe the difference with examples of these works which I played, because I wanted to have some Bach, not really church Bach in this prelude and fugue, because it's really like virtuosity, opening, overture of the concert, fantastic piece for the overture of the concert. So this is the similitude thing between Bach and Handel, to have this really concert works, not religious music as very often we have in Bach music.
So maybe a few words about you. It said that your first teacher was your father. Was he musician, pianist, or organist?
He's organist, and of course it was for me absolutely natural to play the organ, the piano, all instruments with a keyboard, because we had at home the piano, some keyboards, synthesizers, and another side of the street we had the church with the organ. So I think for a child is natural that you see your father to play all the time, so you want to do that, and it was great for me to have this possibility to start to play very early. And naturally I started very early, because I was 3 years old when I started to play the melodies, and my father helped me to find a good fingering for the left hand, and of course I don't remember that, but we have a first video with me when I am 5 years old, and I play really the songs with 2 hands, and it was absolutely helpful to have my father at home.
And you are famous not for being only a virtuoso player, but you also improviser. And nowadays, the art of improvising is not so strictly necessary for the organist as it was before. How it come to you? Are you improvising since your childhood?
Actually, I started by improvisation, because as I told you, first of all, when I started to my adventure with the music, I was too little child to read the music, or I don't know. So I heard some songs, and I tried to reproduce it on the piano, on the keyboard, and to add left hand. It's kind of improvisation when you start the music not by the scores, but by your ears. And in my case, I taught for a few years a child, 7 years old, and I started to come to the conservatory and started to play. And of course, they started to read the music, the scores. But at the same time, I wanted to improvise with them. And it is fantastic that the children have such a great imagination. Of course, they are not able to play perfect notes, but if you ask them to make some thunderstorm or some funny story, they are completely free, and they can create the music really with such a great imagination. The problem is, of course, the system that we started to play with to learn the music with the scores, and we don't take a time to really develop this creativity. In my case, naturally it was this way. So why improvisation is natural for me to say something by music, of course.
And now you have a position of titular organist in Lille. So how often do you use improvisation in services on some other case in church, I mean?
All the time. I mean, yeah. What is great that you have a time during the mass to really create atmosphere, to that the people feel that they are in really in this atmosphere of the day, of this of some special part of services in the church. Yeah. So for this, improvisation is perfect because you can really be able to create a good music for a good moment. Yeah. So it's why I am a church organist.
As an improviser, do you feel the influence of someone, composer or organist?
Of course, of course. All my
Oh,
teachers, all this music which I love, even Russian music I love, of course, Rachmaninoff, I don't know,
really?
Scriabin, all this, Stravinsky, yeah, of course. Yeah. And it's important to have a lot of influences in our musical life, not just musical, but yeah, because I mean, if you have a lot of source of inspiration, after you take all of this, and naturally you give something special, some kind of synthesis of
Mhm.
all these styles. What's happened in the history of the music? You see Bach, he had such a lot of influences from different styles of the composer, of course, Buxtehude of North, of course, France, Italy, because he knew this music and he was able to write the music, for example, in French style, but you feel that this is Bach in French style.
Yeah. And you also resident at Radio France. Of course, we all understand what it means to be titular organist and what it means to be organist in residence in Radio France. Do you perform a lot?
This is very special kind of residency. I mean, because we have, of course, this artistic part that we play a lot of different projects, organ, solo, organ plus orchestra, organ plus choir, different things during the seasons. But we have a very important pedagogical task to do. I mean, we have some atelier, we have presentation of the organs for a different public. And this is great, actually. It's so important because we need to find a new public for the organ, of course. In Russia, it's a little bit different because the people know the organ from the concert hall. You have a lot of organ in the concert hall. In France, you have the organ in the church. And you hear the organ during the funeral or weddings, and in the society the organ is like church instrument, and my task is to show to the people from the audience, from the orchestra or different instrument, that this is a normal instrument. I mean that this is a instrument like a piano, like a violin, and that you can have a fantastic sonorities, fantastic possibilities. Yeah, and I love this job to make this promotion of the instrument, because for our future is so important, really. And the people are in general so happy and so enthusiastic after the presentation, because they couldn't imagine before that the organ can do so many things.
Maybe would you like to be born in some other century, because organ and organ playing is closely connected to the past?
I would love to live in Paris in the 19th century. Really, I think that it was such an incredible place for art, for organ. But to be honest, I don't think too much about this kind of things, because we have a short lives and we have a lot of things to do. So let's take life as he is and do something special.